So I'm going to ask you a small favor. Close your eyes for like 30 seconds, okay? And imagine your name is Olga, and it is February 22nd, 2022, so 3 weeks ago. And you're an awesome software developer who is doing some amazing work in this world, and you are an amazing woman software developer, completely empowered to do whatever you want to. Open your eyes, and it's March 17th, and right about now, it's about 6 a.m. in Przemysl on the Polish-Ukraine border. And you're standing in a food line right now because 3 weeks ago, you had to leave in the middle of the night when the bombing started, and you are a refugee right now, and your university was bombed out. Everything you own is gone. You cannot prove anything. Think about that for a second. This is Ida. Ida, 5 years ago, lost her husband on the Zambia-Congo border. She has 9 children. Ida was growing crops that made its way into a beverage or a chocolate. Yet Ida could never prove that when she sold her crop, that the receipt that she got could allow her to get a bank account, because that receipt could disintegrate in the rain. And every time she went to get a better loan so that she can buy better seeds so she can have a better harvest, the bank said, I cannot bank you because you have no proof that you are an amazing farmer. 2 separate cases, completely in 2 different parts of the world. But what is common in these 2 cases, guys? What is common in these 2 cases is that these 2 amazing women, real-world women, work in our global supply chain that you consume every day. If you woke up this morning in your hotel room, like I did, there was a tea bag that said fair trade on it. And there's a good chance that the tea potentially was grown by a mama farmer like Ida that will never, ever get a bank account. That mother will never, ever be able to prove her existence in our global supply chain, yet each one of us will buy this bag of tea thinking it is sustainable, thinking it is ethical, but it is not. Because if it was really ethical and sustainable, wouldn't you think that Ida could get out of poverty because she grows the cup of tea that you're going to drink and you think it is completely sustainable? Right? If you disagree, raise your hand, throw stuff at me virtually. So what is this problem that I'm trying to uncover here, right? It's called a global supply chain. Today, you're going to hear a lot of companies that are producing sustainable coffee, tea. I'm sure you ate a chocolate bar that said it is amazingly ethical, or I'm sure you used a shampoo that was ethically sourced. And it's following this 5-step supply chain where the brand tells you as the consumer that yes, it's ethically sourced, but they don't know who Ida is, right? Because if you look at the data, in 2016, there were 500 million smallholder farmers, most of them women, who will not break the cycle of poverty, which is $1.90 a day for a family of 5. Yet you are consuming their tea and shampoo. And it's no different. That's Jose picking up a bottle. I'm sure you guys have very good recycled bottles in your hand, correct? At what cost? Because this bottle, plastic, that you think is 100% recycled, and yes, it is probably 100% recycled, the point that we are missing is that this was probably picked up by a mother on the ocean front near Port-au-Prince in Haiti, and she will not even get $1 today. I don't mean to depress anybody, but here's the reality of sustainability in the world today, right? Just going back to this slide here, because it's important for us to recognize the problem, and I'll come to the solution in 1 second. Just make sure that the problem is that we as consumers feel great about ourselves every day because we are doing good for the planet. Yes, you might be doing great for the planet because, yes, you're saving this plastic. But have you asked yourself a very simple question? Where did the plastic come from? This pair of jeans that you're wearing, did it come from a Uyghur Muslim that's being held in a prison camp in Xishan, yet this cotton was ethically sourced? Have you asked yourself the question? And brands are telling you that, but the reality is that if you look at this picture, the last two steps, where the farmer is, where the waste picker is, where the worker is, completely invisible because the receipt that Ida got would not allow her to get a bank account. I'm going to give you a very simple example. If I asked one of you to walk out the door right now, but you cannot prove any of your data, which is your work history, your pay stub, what do you think your experience will be at a car dealership? And if you're a black mama farmer, right? It is because we live in a data dictatorship where everybody else owns your data. And that's where blockchain becomes different. Actually, why does blockchain matter to Jose the waste picker? Why does it matter to Ida, who is the farmer? Here's why. It's very simple. So I'm going to give you a very basic definition of blockchain, and that is all that matters to Ida, which is that in the traditional world, if two people participate in a transaction, which is the example I gave you, when you walked across to the car dealership, nobody would talk to you because you couldn't prove because somebody else used your data. In the blockchain world, if two or more people participate in a single transaction, this is super simple English, right? There's no gobbledygook here, so I'm going to say it very slowly, right? So if you meet another Indian and they try to, snowball you with blockchain, I'm going to give you the real definition, which is if two or more people participate in one transaction, both parties get a copy of the transaction. And why is that important if you are Ida? Because remember, Ida got a paper receipt that disintegrated on a rainy day, and nobody would trust that she was part of a supply chain that made your shampoo so ethically sourced. Right? If you disagree, raise your hand. What blockchain does, going back to the basic definition and that supply chain picture, is that you have the CEO of your shampoo company here, and Ida is the farmer that is growing the crop that's going to make it to the shampoo. In the old world, Ida had no ability to say, I exist in your supply chain, and I have proof of that, which allows me to get out of poverty. And blockchain enables that because blockchain is able to deliver Ida a copy of the transaction of the crops that she grew in the supply chain that makes up this bag of tea. Or for the guy who's picking up the bottles, or the mother who's picking up the bottles, so she can say, I exist in the supply chain of this recycled bottle. Now you might say, wait a minute, Ida does not have smartphones. Ida is not literate when it comes to technology, and I take absolute offense to both of it because I have never met a woman farmer who's not smart. Women are smarter than men. If you disagree, leave the room. Cool, keep staying. It's a fact, right? And Ida has an SMS phone. And blockchain, all it is doing is connecting the dots between the brand that was greenwashing. If you don't know the term greenwashing, I'll give you a quick explanation. If you look at a bottle in your hand that said it was 100% recycled, ask the question of the CEO who sold you the bottle and said, can you name me the mama waste picker who picked up this bottle? If he cannot answer that question, they're greenwashing. Okay? So blockchain, why blockchain is a massive disruptor in terms of traceability, transparency, and equitability? It's because when Ida sells that bag of coffee, cacao, barley, whatever it might be, through an SMS message that is generated out of a blockchain technology, she gets proof in the local language that says, Mama, you sold 40 kilos at 16% moisture, and that same proof exists in the fancy smartphone of the CEO. And going back to the original definition, both parties have an equal copy of the transaction. With me? And why is this important? Why is this important to smallholder farmers who live in extreme poverty? Why is it important for people who live in extreme poverty and yet are picking up our cell phone batteries, our plastic bottles? It is important because, guys, we are at the intersection of extreme poverty, gender inequality, and climate change. And all of that lands at the start of a supply chain. And if that supply chain is not traceable, if it's not transparent, and if it is not equitable, then all of us are kidding ourselves if we think we're doing good for the planet, because we're not. Since the war broke out in Ukraine, I can bet you right now there's 80 million refugees worldwide. There were 75 to start with, and there's 5 million more refugees because Olga now is standing in a food line, and she cannot prove that she's an awesome software developer. So blockchain offers a solution that legitimizes the existence of people who are vulnerable, people who work in our supply chains every day. And to close out, fast forward today, Ida, over the last 4 years, has built through an SMS phone. You can talk to her, jump on a plane, go to Luapula in Zambia, and talk to her and ask her, and she will tell you this, which is, I have an SMS phone, and I can prove every single bag of crop I've sold. All my children are in school, and oh, by the way, I have a bank account, so I am not getting a predatory loan, and now I can have a better life. Right? So this thing I'll leave you with. I'm not trying to depress anybody, but here's the important component to remember, right? Your lives intersect with people who live in poverty. That's about 2 billion people. And it intersects into the supply chain that you consume today. The shirts you wear, the bottle of water you drink, the chocolate bar you're going to eat. So take a second to ask yourself the question, do I really know the mama farmer? And is she out of extreme poverty? If the answer is no, dig deeper, because the solution is there. You just haven't fought hard enough for it.